I would be willing to guess that over the last 6 months, Cindra versus Kassai has not been the matchup that everyone has been testing back and forth and back and forth. But with our most recent Battle Hardened finals, this game seemed like a pretty cool one to show you guys. It also reminded me of two things that honestly I kind of wish I could go back and forget. The first one is that Valiant Dynamos is absolutely insane. It's so good at blocking Mask of Momentum. It lines up so well against our daggers. It helps cover breakpoints. Valiant Dynamos is absolutely insane. And the other one is how broken Blood on Our Hands can be. Blood on Our Hands is very powerful. It is an insanely good card. And watch out for it in this game because it swung the game quite a bit in one direction as we were going through it. The other cool thing about Cindra here is that even though we're playing Mask of Momentum and we don't really get to hit with it too much against these decks that like to block a lot, I still think it's good because if your opponent makes blocking mistakes throughout the game, you can punish them with Flick Knives, Throw Dagger, and you can keep the turn going and really continue to make things happen and force more cards out of their hand, even if we're not drawing at the end of the turn. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope you enjoyed the match. All right, we're playing against Kassai, and we are going first. Admittedly, a little bit of a clunker here. Hand is really, really weird, actually. I mean, I think we're just supposed to set up the loyalty play, right? Like, we're probably just supposed to pitch Dragon Power to Kunai. We can attack with both Kunai's Arsenal Loyalty and then just have the setup, I guess. It's not an ideal play. Drawing 2 of these on turn 0 is not the best thing in the world, but I think it's better than us doing nothing here. Just attacking a little bit, trying to get some value here. They're going to give us the Dynamos, which is just it's a good play. Makes a lot of sense. We're going to flick to deal a damage here, and then we're going to come in with Hot on their heels. It's going to get another card out of their hand. It is interesting to me that they open Crown of Dominion. Not saying it's bad, it's just an interesting play. I know a lot of Kassais were blocking pretty heavily for a while, but... Alright, we're going to set up, and... Jesus, okay. This, yeah, these are some hands of all time right here. This is a great example of what playing through variants looks like. I mean, drawing 2 shelters and 2 loyalties in what 4, 6, 7, 8, or I'm sorry, 5, 6, 7, 7 cards, 7 cards, and we've drawn 4 of our 6 defense reactions. It's quite some interesting draws. So anytime you ever listen to somebody talk about playing through the variants, things like this are what they're referring to. This is going to be no blocks. It's going to be Shelter, and it's going to be the Loyalty Beyond the Grave from Arsenal here to just cover this up pretty effectively, just trying to stay in a good position. If they do not have a reaction, we're just going to play the other Loyalty Beyond the Grave. Just covering this up any way we can. We get to deny them multiple pieces of copper here by having this. Like, we actually just get to deny them a lot of setup here. They lost their gold they started the game with, and we've now denied them multiple pieces of copper this game. It's kind of funny because my opponent just said okay in the chat, and I just want to respond and say, okay, like, I'm not any more happy about this than you are, bud. I'm going to Arsenal the Throw Dagger here and just kind of set up a little bit. Rewarded pretty heavily here. It draws bad ratios. My opponent said, what kind of Cindra is this? And I just said, a Cindra that draws bad ratios, LOL. Like, I definitely get where they're coming from, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, like, I don't want to have 4 defense reactions against you. We could block Concealed Blade in the flight path here, but I think our hand is really good. We even get to use the brand to be able to play the Throw Dagger here from Arsenal, which is really good. I don't like that they had another Spoils of War, because it means we're in a situation where they're just going to be getting the value they want out of the copper generation. So this is for 3. Again, I'm going to say no blocks. Like, we have a pretty good hand here. We're going to try to take some of the tempo if we can. There's no guarantee that we get the tempo we want here, but I think we have a pretty good hand. I mean, yeah, we might as well draw an extra card. So it's going to be Oath of Loyalty to start with. So they just cover this up with a shelter. Makes sense. We're going to go Spreading Flames. We are going to use a resource attack with a dagger an extra time, maybe this turn. I can't decide if I want to use the brand on the Art of the Dragon Blood or if I want to use brand on the Throw Dagger here. Honestly, not the easiest decision I've ever made. Dagger for 2. Them blocking there actually works out pretty well, in my opinion. We're going to play brand with Cinderclaw for 4. I mean, I guess technically this is for 5 versus like this is like for 1 and like something else. I guess we're just going to go ahead and flick the dagger. We're going to keep the chain link alive. I did lie. I'm not going to activate the chest. I don't think there's a reason to here. Let's see. This is the next card you play, right? The next attack this combat chain. So it's immediately not as great because this is 5 go again. Now they don't know what's in my arsenal, obviously. But the fact that like we have to use the brand to like turn this on is a little awkward here with what we drew into. Our opponent's going to go to 30. We're going to throw Kunai for 2. And then we're actually just going to pass and we're going to set up the Throw Dagger for next turn. So depending on what we draw, we'll know if it was worth it to throw 5 or not. We have to think of the Throw Dagger as a damage and an extra card. That's the best way to think about this. Okay, this hand is really not the best, but it's okay. I think this hand does a fine job at being just okay enough. Did they draw their 3rd Spoils of War? Blocking 4 seems like a good play here. Just kidding, they had it the whole time. Well, they get the gold here. I was kind of hoping that they were banking on us trying to draw another card, which to be fair is a very feasible plan. This is 5 on hits. Make 2 more copper. I mean, I just don't think we're going to be able to fight them on that whole thing. It just does not seem very feasible. We're going to go hot on their heels. We're forced into a weird situation with the Throw Dagger this turn and how this whole turn lines up with the Blood Runs Deep, because we have 3 flick effects this turn, and I don't think they line up well for us. So we're going to use the Throw Dagger here to try and get some extra value. I do not need the counter off the vest from here. We now mark our opponent. We're going to spend 1 to get our daggers back. We're going to play the Blood Runs Deep. Blood Runs Deep flicks both of our daggers, putting our opponent to 24. We create a fealty token. Getting a fealty token is really good setup here and really like tries to help us push our game plan. We've chewed through quite a bit of their equipment here, all things considered. But the problem is that we're really not winning the game from here. Like, we're not winning the game right now. We're not in a great spot. I'm going to come in for 5. I'm going to force them to make a decision here, 100%. No daggers for next turn is a little awkward. Okay, they're going to give me 2 cards. I mean, to be fair, we just took a 0 for 4 and a 0 for 3 reaction out of their hand. I am completely okay with this exchange and how that lined up. So it's going to be, we're going to be saying no blocks here. Blade Runner. All right, so we're going to go to 24, and then they're going to come in for 4, and we're going to go to 20. We're going to go Rising Resentment. I mean, we have a pretty good hand here. The Sound the Alarm is going to line up pretty well. I think we're just going to go get a Shelter here. We've already seen 2, so we'll just go get our last one. So Rising Resentment. We could also Arsenal the Sound the Alarm. One of the problems with Sound the Alarm here is that it's just a 1 for 5 because we've already gotten the value out of the Loyalty Beyond the Grave. So it's not like this card is pushing the ceiling of what it's capable of at this point. But to be fair, like, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. We are going to go all the way here. Since they did not block on the second chain link and they blocked on the first, we're going to keep going. Because from here, if they block, we activate Cindra, flick a dagger, gain a resource, throw 5. And then depending on what they have, we might be able to put a Shelter on top and then potentially draw into it. I think I have to do this play anyway. Just so that I can continue the value train here of throwing my value cards. And then 1 for 5, they have a Blade Flurry, Blood on their hands, and a Sharpened Senses. We are going to get the Shelter. Drawing into a Sheltered Arsenal really just to protect against a Blood on our hands is really solid. Wow, they're just going to take this down to 11 and give us Mask. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to complain here. Like, this is fine with me. And if they go Blood on their hands for, like, all the modes here, which is very probable, Sharpened Senses is also really good. It's Sharpened Senses, Blood on their hands, and Blade Flurry, which is also a really solid card. Because Blood on their hands gives stuff Go Again, right? Yeah. So they can do it all here. +1, Go Again, and attack twice. So it's going to be 3, 6, 9, 12. I mean, they have a really good hand. But we're up 9 life with a defense reaction, and we have a really good hand. I mean, I guess Sharpened Senses isn't doing a lot here, so the gold could get you some extra value here. If you drew into a blue, you could even pitch the Blade Flurry. Oh yeah, see, that's insane. Blood on our hands for all the modes. And then you have the Blade Flurry. So this went from 12 to 15 to 19 this turn cycle. Yep. They're doing all the modes, which, I mean, is the only logical play. Yeah, activate Kassai is also a really good play here. I'm not going to be able to block this out, so I'm not even going to attempt to. I'm not going to be able to block this out. I'm not going to attempt to. It is a losing play pattern against Kassai to try and stuff their game plan here. We're just going to give them the gold. We're going to give them the coppers, and we're just going to fall down really low here. So we take 5 to 13. We're going to take 5 to 8, and then we're going to take 3 down to 5. And then we have a pretty good hand. I mean, our hand's pretty solid here. This hand is looking pretty good. So we're going to go Brand with Cinderclaw because we need a starter. Depending on how they play this, we could use Vest to get really aggressive here. I really like them blocking the first chain link. That feels really, really good. So if I flick to gain a resource here, which I do not think is correct here. The problem is they have Dynamo that just blocks out the single dagger so well. That is my biggest issue here. We're down 2. We're down all the Blade Flurries. We're down 2 in the swings. And they pitched a Blood on their hands early. So, depending on what their last 2 cards are, if this hits, we're in a really good spot. Because if this hits, we're going to flick, return, Arsenal, and just set up here. Or no, I'm sorry. If this hits, we get to do... Oh, see, this is awesome. Now, they have, like, the grains in this they could block with here. So, yeah. This is going to hit. Our opponent falls down to 9. This hitting is great, because now we get to go wide through the vest and with everything else. And the fact that they gave up Dynamos here, just trying to get value, is going to be so good for us. Okay. Or I lied. So this hits but does nothing. And we put them down to 9. There's no mask trigger if we throw Lava Burst. There's no reason in throwing anything else to flick. They only have 1 card in hand. Let's try to set up a 5-card hand. A 5-card hand may be our last-ditch effort at this point in time. I mean, this hand's pretty good. Like, the blue adds some consistency with us having our daggers. Them blocking early with equipment also adds a lot of really good value to this turn. I'm hoping that they just continue to like try and give us cards to slow us down, because honestly, that's exactly where I want them to be. I want them to be blocking, thinking that this is like, yeah, see, this kind of blocking is awesome for us. So from here, we get to go Burning Blade Dance. This probably gets a card. Burning Blade Dance is just a 0 for 3 with on hit 0 for 4, which is really good. So this probably gets a card here. Yeah, see, this gets a card, which is perfect. Now, we're going to go ahead and flick a dagger. We're going to hit them. We are not going to gain a resource. We have 1 floating. We have no reason to. So now that we've flicked, we've hit this chain link, which is great. We're going to throw Blood Runs Deep, which again is only a 0 for 3 right here, but it keeps Mask alive and puts our opponent in an awkward situation. So this happens. Our opponent probably goes to 5 here off of this. We refresh. We're waiting on our opponent. We're going to offer their life total here off of 1 card. This has been a really interesting game, especially through some of the weird variants at the beginning, which, to be fair, like, my opponent also had some weird hands line up, so it wasn't like it was just a one-sided game. I think both my opponent and I, tell them to refresh here. Both my opponent and I have had some awkward hands, and I feel like this game has been a good experiment on how to play through the variants. That was the end of my Dr. Pepper. That was like the last fuel I needed to win this game. Hopefully. Hopefully. I love this because it's really forcing our opponent to think here. Do I want to throw this at them? I don't think so, right? Like, I think the longer we can set up 5-card hands, the better off we're going to be. Plus, we might get into a spot where we draw like an Art of the Dragonfire. Or I'm sorry, a Sound the Alarm we didn't bring. Or no, Art of the Dragonfire is in the main deck. So a hand like this is crazy good. Uh-oh. I really don't want to die to nothing, is what scares me. So, like, we have to decide what we want to block with. I really don't want to block with Art of the Dragonfire. The card's just insane here. We do have the ability to block with Fire Tenet Strike first. Actually, is there any world we can block with Concealed Blade here? Oath of Loyalty, Rising Resentment, Crack Fealty, Fire Tenet Strike first, Flick a Dagger, Crack Fealty, Art of the Dragonfire. 4, 7, 10, and 8 is 18. It's an 18 card 4. I think we can block with Mask, right? Like, we're never going to win through Mask here. And I don't think there's anything that kills us up front. Yeah, so the Blade Runner means this comes in for 4. We block with Concealed Blade, take 1, go to 4. So we were able to block very efficiently, and we're going to utilize our entire hand. You absolutely love to see this. We actually have a better line here. Instead of throwing Rising Resentment second, we're going to throw Fire Tenet Strike first. Because if the Rising Resentment hits, we don't have to, like, use the dagger. We don't have to use the chest here. All right, so they block this out, which I ultimately think is a good play. We're going to activate a fealty token, come in for 3. They may not block here. They may go to 2. In fact, if they block here, we probably win this turn. Man, this has been a good game. I'm not going to lie, like, low-key, I love seeing that Kassai's back on the menu because it's such a fair deck, in my opinion. 4 going in with an on-hit effect. You have to block this because you're dead to Flick if you don't. Now, I don't think our opponent had any way of knowing this, but their window to not block was on the second chain link there. So right now, this is going to hit and let us banish this. We banish Art of the Dragonfire. We crack a fealty token, and we throw Art of the Dragonfire. Put our opponent to 2, and this probably just kills them. Okay, so a minute ago when I was saying that we win the game this turn, I didn't mean literally when I said it. I thought it was going to have to be like a we take all your cards and win next turn. But with the extra damage over the top and the good sequencing there, we ended up winning the game even without using Flick Knives on the final turn there. The start of this game did not disappoint because on turn 0, I made the decision to keep a Loyalty Beyond the Grave in Arsenal, keep one in hand, and thinking, okay, like over the next couple turns, I can set up a really good power play and I can get really aggressive here and start playing a lot of offense. But I ended up drawing 2 Shelter the Storms. Now, having 2 Shelter from the Storms and 2 Loyalty Beyond the Graves and a blue in our Ninja aggro deck was never on my bingo card during this game. It did actually line up really well because my opponent had a Spoils of War and they were trying to generate a lot of copper. We were actually able to block out everything, take them off of an arsenal, and then let us set up a 5-card hand with Loyalty Beyond the Grave in the graveyard for when we had a bigger hand to really start our aggressive turns with. Turn 5 was a really interesting decision point in how to play Cindra. Now, as a general rule of thumb, it's normally pretty bad to not have any daggers going into the following turn with no arsenal because you're setting yourself up to draw a real brick hand and then just have nothing to do. With a Blood Runs Deep and a Lava Burst, I was able to keep Mask of Momentum alive through multiple chain links and then force 2 cards out of our opponent's hand at the end with a Lava Burst, or force them to give us an arsenal, which felt like the better play here, all things considered. But what made this so awkward is that I needed to use Flick Knives, activate Cindra, then throw Blood Runs Deep, which meant I would have 0 daggers going into the following turn, which really could have cost us. But I think pressuring our opponent with the Lava Burst was just a better play. My opponent's Blood on Our Hands turn was really powerful, and I was honestly worried that it might have put the game out of reach for me. Being down 6 points and only being at 5 is a little frightening. Now, thankfully, I had a 4-card hand that was pretty solid that allowed me to crack back. And interestingly enough, my opponent went all the way down to 1 card. They blocked my first 0 for 3, they blocked the Burning Blade Dance, and then they let the second one hit, but they discard Shelter to stop the extra ping damage, which was really interesting to me. It was a very interesting turn cycle in the way the whole thing played out there, but them having one card being only up 4 points and me having a Lava Burst in Arsenal meant really good things, and all we had to do was apply enough pressure to keep them on the back foot. On the last turn of the game, I was able to block with Mask of Momentum and a Concealed Blade from my hand and leave myself at 4. Blocking with only one card from hand and having 3 cards in an arsenal allowed me to get really aggressive with my opponent only at 5. Now, the fact that they fell down to 2 ended up meaning that the Art of the Dragonfire was going to be good enough to kill them there, which was pretty awesome. Between Flick and the Art of the Dragonfire, it lined up really well, but we had a really, really good hand because of the Ignite, the Rising Resentment, and also if the Rising Resentment didn't hit, we also just had the flick off of the dagger to gain a resource because we still had Blood Splattered Vest. So at that point in the game, we were in a really powerful position because on back-to-back turns, we were able to set up 5-card hands and keep the pressure going. Guys, if you see anything you think I missed, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take it easy, guys.